Welcome back to Empire of Dreams, where our next land is apparently a redneck. Oh, and this is my favourite cutscene in the entire game. Hewpoe has his priorities entirely in order. I'm sure there's issues of serious potential eternal imprisonment going on, but you know, steak. Wind spirits need their steak. That is, if Hewpoe is still a wind spirit in this game. I don't know. I stopped. It's been a long time since I've actually cared about the story of this game. But anyway, our primary item in this level, in this entire world actually, is the Bumis. You remember these from Daughter Phantom Isle? They're basically like enemies we can pick up and use and throw around over and over again. Except this time they have a timer over their heads when we grab them, so we can easily see how long we've got left to run with them. As a general rule, you want to drop them when the timer goes to 5. That's when you need to leave them well alone, because you're not going to have time to pick them up and get clear of the explosion. This is one of the jerk things, I think, in this level. The moo spawns all the way over there. So if you go through there to get those gems, you just have to stand there and wait for the moo to wander over to you. I've ranted enough about things in this game that slow it all down to not want to get really angry about it right now. Also, a bit of a dick move on that. Blue gem there. I don't know entirely exactly how you're supposed to get it, but next new element is those destructible blocks, and that's why you don't pick up the moves when they drop below 5. Yeah, we can use Bumis to get rid of those destructible blocks. Really, this level is a very nice change of pace, really, and it's pretty much all pure platforming. There's not a whole lot of complex puzzling to be done here. And you can also see that Bumis don't have a consistent timer. Some of them have longer timers than others. Which does make puzzles like this one a bit of a dick move, because you have no way of knowing that you're going to need the other one, or that you're going to have to grab them in a specific order until you actually pick them up. Which means you're inevitably going to fail it the first time and have to go back. But now we're back in the first area, and now we've got the block, or had the block. We can use it to pass by these. Go there, grab the last star. and make a move towards the exit. Once we have a move to actually get us up that jump anyway. So the idea behind Jiobob that it's a food land, and there's some food stuff around, and this is the big puzzle element of this. Basically, those will direct the explosions of a Bumi, which you'll see here. Bumi blows up, and some of the sparks start moving in the direction of the arrow, in order to get rid of that destructible block. That's really the big element of this level. Not a huge amount of box work in this level, thankfully. At least not complicated box work. Where we are using boxes generally, there is a wind thing to. There is a wind gust way down, and jumping when carrying enemies continues to be a giant pain in the arse. Another thing to bear in mind is, while we can throw Bumis into arrow boxes without blowing up the arrow box straight away, but if we throw an arrow box into a Bumi, the Bumi will blow. And arrow boxes don't respawn, so if you screw it up and accidentally blow one up, you have to leave the screen and come back just to get it back. I like to think that that making it work in that order was to make puzzles like that work. And it does speed things up a bit in places. Don't need that box anymore, so we get rid of that. And you take this Bumi up here. This is one of the annoying things about working with Bumis. You're never entirely sure what is going to make them blow straight away. Which can make them very difficult to work around, especially when you're on low health. And when trying to time switches like that. First encounter with the floor switches in the entire series, because they went indoor to Fan Smile. They work just like any other switch. Anything that's dumped on them will weigh it down. So whether it's a box or an enemy that's just passing over. Or this Bumi, which we'll dump on there as soon as the freaking wind gust starts behaving itself. And yeah, arrow boxes work just like any other. Dumping the Bumi on that switch though is a bit of a red herring, just because you don't actually need anything to weigh that switch down. Because the only reason you need that door open is to throw this arrow box inside it. Which takes me an embarrassingly long amount of time to figure out. And then of course we need to throw the Bumi in. And the boxes will take the explosion up to open this door and get us our box. Which thankfully goes straight down and weighs down the wind automatically. And then it's just a case of dropping into the door. This world opens up much better than our last world. Premal was kind of... well, I'll say it. Premal was dull. It was extremely boring in its first half. But this world is actually much better at introducing an interesting concept, and it keeps introducing little more detailed concepts as you go through the game, as you go through the world. Such as what we did when dropping down through that, going through that wind gust, of using the ball hang to pull ourselves out of the gust. This is probably one of my favourite areas, probably one of my favourite rooms of the entire game. Just because the entire principle of the room is doing things with the Bumis so you can take them to new places. Like we used it to blow up the block to release the wind gust, and then we can use it to blow up another block and just hang there while it blows. Pretty weird scrolling going on in this screen. It doesn't seem to be able to figure out whether it needs to scroll up or it needs to scroll down, and this is a giant pain in the ass. The box just does not know how to react. It does not know what the hell is going on when you've got it on the springboard like that, because the gap for jumping, at least normally, is decent enough that you're not going to screw it up that often. However, when you're carrying an item, it is more likely to just make you jump, use it to double jump before it lets you do what you actually want to do with it, which is use the springboard to jump higher. And then when I actually do need to get box there, it doesn't behave. Basically, boxes are hard to work with, is the basic idea here. First time I've actually used one of those rooms for navigation, although it's not really of much use when it comes to actual navigation, just because it's not much use for navigation down to the fact that it's a linear corridor. There is only one way in and one way out, effectively. And this is one of those really simple puzzles that just was not working for me. And then the box blows up and you have to go off the screen just so you can get the box back. And that was when I spotted the star up at the top there, which pointed out that there are actually two ways out of this room. And it's quite important that you notice that as well, considering, you know, you need to figure that to actually leave the level. More embarrassing not being able to figure out what the hell to do here. And it's really a very simple puzzle. One box takes it sideways, one box takes it up. That opens up the door so we can get this last key. And then it's a long trek back to the first screen of the level. I think if you're more than 2 screens away from where you need to take a key, there really should be some kind of shortcut route. But all we need to do is open the door and the star's right there, so that's over. And finally, hoverboard time. And I was actually very proud of this run after I'd completed it. The key feature of this hoverboard course is the additional floating platform sections. There are these little additional platforms up in the air. And that's where all the big gems are. And that requires some serious reactions and dexterity to get that right. I also like the giant turnips in the background. Though I don't actually like turnips. I just think horrible, horrible, horrible food. It's a bit of a bad thing really that we started this world off talking about steak, and yet it's nothing but vegetables when you look around. The broccoli and the pumpkin houses. I have no idea what the windmills are supposed to be.